What's going on, everybody? I'm Riku and welcome back to another video of Inazuma 11 Victory Road. And in today's video I'm here to say that Inazuma 11 Victory Road is officially on my Nintendo Switch 2 home screen. It's also on yours if you pre-ordered the game, but I wanted to feel special for a second. Okay, so the preloads are officially up for Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. They will show up later on throughout the day within the first 24 hours of uploading this video on PS, Xbox, as well as I think PC. I may be mistaken on that, but very important information is that if I were to click the plus button for the options, I can actually see that the game is at version 1.1.0. This is mainly because I already have the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade pack, so this is basically what I have. I literally have 100 megabytes worth of information on my Nintendo Switch from Inazuma 11 Victory Road. So, what's the important thing about the game officially being here? We can actually see how well it's doing on the charts of Nintendo Switch. So if we were to go to the Nintendo eShop, and keep in mind that I am on the UK eShop, so in the UK, Inazuma 11 Victory Road Nintendo Switch 2 edition is number 3. This is insane. The game being in the top 3 is so very good. If we were to just go to download exclusives, that completely screws everything, but let's just ignore that. So this is all cool and dandy, but how's it going on the Nintendo Switch 1? We can actually see that on the Nintendo Switch 1, Inazuma 11 Victory Road, the Digital Deluxe Edition, is actually ranked number 4. This is insane. Even on the Nintendo Switch 1, and people are still purchasing this game. But even better, if we scroll down all the way to number 63, we can actually see that the base game with no Digital Deluxe, no Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade packs, is actually 63rd. This is insane. And if I were to go very quickly to the Spanish Nintendo eShop, you'll be seeing images on screen at the moment. We can actually see that on Nintendo Switch 2's eShop, Inazuma 11 Victory Road is ranked 1st, and then on the Nintendo Switch eShop, Inazuma 11 Victory Road Digital Deluxe Edition is ranked 1st, and the base game is ranked 2nd. This is insane, but it doesn't stop there. If we go to Steam, and we take out the first 2 games, because those are free-to-play games, at the moment, in this current moment, Inazuma 11 Victory Road is number 1 on Steam in Spain. And as you can see on screen, this is how it is in the different regions of Steam. The game is absolutely doing numbers on Steam, except for the UK, because it's not even in the top 100. Anyways, moving on, I'm going to go over the size of the game. I actually have this noted down. So if we were to go all the way down here, the game, both on Switch as well as Nintendo Switch 2, will be 29.1 gigabytes. This is mainly because all of the textures, all of the upgrades included within the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game are already present in the Nintendo Switch 1 version of the game, which is why the upgrade pack is like 100 megabytes. It's literally just unlocking a key that's like, oh, okay. In the code, it's like, oh, okay, we're on Nintendo Switch 2. Okay. So the game will be 43 gigabytes on PS, as you can currently see on screen, and we do not know the rest, but we can make a rough estimation of 60 to 70 gigabytes for Steam based off of previous Level 5 titles that obviously release on multiple platforms. Moving on, the early access period starts on Tuesday, the 11th of November at midnight JST, which is around 3 PM on Monday for the UK, and 4 PM Central European time, so make sure that you can make the conversion to your specific time so that you can play once the game is actually out. And then this is the exact same process for the full release of the game, the base game, the Nintendo Switch 2 launch of the game. So it releases midnight on the 14th of November JST, which is 3/4 PM on the 13th for UK and Europe. The pre-order bonuses are the exact same across all platforms. If you buy the game before the base game launches on the 13th of November, you'll receive the following items: a Bracelet of Victory, which boosts the EXP of the player that has it equipped, a complete set of training beans, which include 30 beans of each type, So we can buff up our players in the Abulan board, which is the skill tree of Inazuma 11 Victory Road, as well as the Dark Emperor's kit. Additionally, if you purchase the Digital Deluxe Edition before the game launches, you will get everything from above, as well as the following items. A Choose a Character crate, which allows you to choose one player of the 8 that you can currently see on screen. You'll also get 2 bond objects for your Kizuna town, being the Rai Rai Noodles shop, as well as the Old Football Club. You'll also receive a Promise Pendant, which further boosts the EXP gained if you stack it with the boots. And lastly, you will receive the Victory Jump Celebration for when you score a goal. It's important to note that PS, Xbox, as well as Steam, when you purchase the Digital Deluxe Edition, you will receive 3 days of advanced or early access, whatever you want to call it, so you can get a head start on the game, whereas on the Nintendo Switch, as well as Nintendo Switch 2, you will not be able to play the game until it's fully released on November the 13th. Once you're able to boot up the game, I'd recommend you immediately start a cross save. This is mainly to ensure that your save data doesn't get lost. So I'm going to pause a little bit over here. I had written down a whole section, but I'm going to give you a demonstration on how to do this on Fantasy Life. It's the exact same process on Fantasy Life, Megaton Musashi, as well as Inazuma 11 Victory Road. So I'm just going to give you a little demo, and then, it'll be quite simple. Okay, so I'm currently in Fantasy Life, so we press any button, we can hit the cross-save inspection, which you can see at the bottom right corner, and it's going to connect. And since it's my first time booting up the game in a while, it's going to take a little bit longer to connect to the internet, as well as make sure that Epic Games is linked successfully. So as you can see, all of the cross-save status is over here. We can actually overwrite our current information as well as our current stuff. So if I were to just click out of this and hit continue, it's going to load us into the game, so just give it a second. If we were to go to save, you can actually see over here that you can update to cross-save data as well. So you can uncheck this and check this at any time whilst you're playing. So I'm going to do a little demonstration. So I'm just going to use the teleportation gate, and it's going to take me to Gynaremosia. So right now, if I were to hit save and check this out, it'll actually save me onto the Gynaremosia. So if I were to hit the title screen and leave, and as you can see, we can just hit the cross-save inspection. We can actually just overwrite. As you can see, my cross-save data is at the base camp, and then my save data at the bottom is on Gynaremosia. If I hit yes, any progress that I have made will be overwritten. So make sure that you want to save as much, your most recent save up to the cloud, unless you're trying to do a cheeky exploit that may arise from the game. Or if you just want to, overwrite your cross save from a different platform and then just put it onto your Switch, for example. You can also do that, but just make sure that once you hit yes, your previous save data is gone forever. So just make sure that you're doing the most adequate choice when you're basically using the cross save, okay? It's not that big of a mystery, let's say. So what's the good thing about having cross save? So if you're like me and you're buying the game on PC as well as Nintendo Switch, you'll be able to have platform bonuses. So for example, for those of you who buy the game only on PC, you'll receive a boosted rate up for Team Ogre, Eternal Light, as well as Ancient Darkness for the first 3 weeks of the game, and then you'll get Prominence, Diamond Dust, as well as Zarnok's Domain boosted for the 2 weeks after. So what's the good part? If you have multiple platforms, these bonuses will stack as long as you've initiated cross-save on both platforms. So for example, now with Nintendo Switch, I'll have 6 teams worth of players that will be in a constant rate up boost for the first 3 weeks of the game and moving forward. So on screen, you'll be able to see this more visually. If you need me to explain anything, please leave it down below, and I'm more than happy to explain. I do have to mention that a paid Nintendo Switch Online subscription is needed to use cross-save. You'll also need to use or have an Epic Games account. If you want to have any further information about cross-save, I have an entire video dedicated to it, so please give it a watch. Lastly, I'd like to go over the specs for Inazuma 11 Victory Road, which are as follows. The game will run at 1080p at 30 FPS on Nintendo Switch whilst on TV mode, 4K 60 FPS on Switch 2 on TV mode, as well as the PlayStation 5, and the game can even reach up to 120 FPS on the PS5 Pro, as well as powerful PCs. On the PS4, it'll run at 1080p at 60 FPS, and on the Xbox Series S, the game will run at 1440p at 60 FPS, and the Series X, the game will run at 4K 120 FPS. I do have to mention that ultra-wide resolution, which is 21:9, is also supported on PC. There's also mouse control support for PC as well as Nintendo Switch 2, with a PS5 update planned for later on down the line. It shouldn't be too long after release, I don't think, so we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. And as usual with PC games, you'll be able to use your Xbox, PlayStation, or equivalent controller to play Inazuma 11 Victory Road. Anyways, that's all for today. That was a whole lot of yapfest, too much information thrown at you, so if you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I will see you all in the next video. I was Riku, and all I gotta say is adios.